The message that I'll be sharing today is quite tough. It is tough. It's basically saying that you are not weak or a victim. It's just that you are foolish, or just because of foolishness, or you are acting and playing so hard to become a proper foolish person. That's the premise of our discourse this morning. And that is why I would really request that you share the post, because we need to reach as many people as possible, especially those who are really working so hard to be called foolish. Especially for those who strongly believe and they've orchestrated the understanding that they are weak or they are victims of circumstances. This message is a little tough. It's coming from a point of tough love, and we would wish to have this addressed. So tag your friends, let everyone know as we get right on it. So the title this morning is Not Weak or a Victim. It's just foolishness. We need to understand that values come to you to the extent that your brain can handle. The amount of value that you can harness, the amount of value that you can create is to the extent that your brain can handle. You will never excel beyond your level of thinking. So if your level of thinking is here, you can never achieve things beyond this level of thinking. You will always achieve max to your level of thinking. So if you are to achieve so much more, then there is something that you need to change, and that is your thoughts. You need to change the thoughts you entertain. You need to change the thoughts that you bring closer to yourself. So you can only excel to the extent of your level of thinking. So that is a fact. With that said, it could be true that no weapon formed against you shall prosper. I mean, those who are church-loving people, love this verse. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. It could be true that no weapon formed against you shall prosper. But a weapon formed against yourself through your thoughts has been prospering from time immemorial. In fact, it has been prospering from the time you ever got to know the word prosperity. I'll repeat that. It could be true that no weapon formed against you shall prosper, but a weapon formed against yourself through your thoughts has been prospering from the time immemorial. From the time you never even got to understand what prosperity means. Why? Because a number of us have dwarfed our achievements. A number of us have dwarfed our potential. A number of us have dwarfed what we can ascend to become, all because of self-destruction. And this self-destruction is coming in from the thoughts that we entertain and the excuses that we give for entertaining these thoughts. Though the humble beginnings may be small, the ending may be great. But the interesting thing is this: because of your thoughts, you will remain in humble beginnings forever and ever. Provided you change this, provided you don't change this, you remain in humble beginnings. I know that there are some of you that want to act and show like, you see, these are just humble beginnings. My friend, if you don't change your thoughts, you remain in those same humble beginnings. Humble beginnings will be your portion for the rest of your life. Don't you see people who are 65 years old and they are still in humble beginnings? The key I'm putting across is your thoughts. What thoughts are you entertaining? What thoughts are you embracing? And I think that is where our discourse will be today. I'm reminded of a certain gentleman. And by the way, as I get to this gentleman, let me say this. God is interested in elevating you and making you a better person. He's interested in that. But a number of us have positioned ourselves to remain in the same level because of our thinking. So let me break it down and let me even give a practical example. of how we find ourselves entertaining this weakness or this victim, mentality and this uncontrollable, like we find ourselves in this space of entertaining things we shouldn't be entertaining. So this gentleman approached me and said, you see, I need prayers. I need prayers because I have a very bad weakness. And this weakness is uncontrollable. All right, so talk to me about it. So it says, you see, I have a huge weakness and uncontrollable so when it comes to women. You have a weakness and uncontrollable when it comes to women. So talk to me about it. So this gentleman explains that, you see, I am weak. I can't just see a skirt. When I see a skirt, I want to go beyond the skirt. That is my weakness. When I see a skirt, I have this urge, this uncontrollable urge of wanting to go beyond the skirt. So I need your prayers. I need God to touch me so that I can move from this weakness. Because this weakness is uncontrollable for me. I looked at him as he was narrating how weak and how uncontrollable he was. Then I asked him a question to say, you see, you said you have a weakness and a very uncontrollable weakness when it comes to women. When you see a skirt, there's an urge that comes to you that you can't just control. Then he says, yes. Then I asked him to say, have you ever had the urge to sleep with your mother? Okay. Have you ever had the urge to sleep with your sister? Because the issue that you're telling me is that you are uncontrollable when you see a skirt and your mother puts on a skirt. Have you ever had that urge? And he got furious. And he said, how can you say such a thing? Of course not. I've never had that kind of thing. Then I said, no, the fact that you've never had the urge to sleep with your sister or your mother, it simply means that it is not that you are uncontrollable. It is not that you are weak. You have been scripting this. It has been a plan for you to go after the 21-year-olds and the 20-year-olds and the 22-year-olds, orchestrating on how you're going to sleep with them. So it is not that it is something uncontrollable. It is a plan. Those are thoughts you entertain and you plan this. It is not that you are uncontrollable. And this is the fact. For most people who say I'm uncontrollable or I have a weakness, it is not that they are uncontrollable. They plan it. They orchestrate it. It is a scripted movie for them. So sleeping with these girls is a scripted thing. So it is not out of lack of control. In fact, even such a one who thinks that they are uncontrollable, they can't control themselves. When they are in the act or they are going towards the sexual act, those who say they can't control themselves, if they're in that process, let the lady say I'm HIV positive. You realize that actually they are controllable. It is only that they make a decision that they want to go down that route. It has nothing to do with lack of control. So what am I putting across with this? There are many things that we think we have no control over, that we totally have control over, but we do not have enough willpower to summon that control. We do not have enough willpower to summon the direction of our behavior. You see, a person who has worked for 24 hours, continuously working, they have been working for 24 hours and they are tired. 24 hours straight, tired. You get on your bed and this person who gets on the bed and says, I am so tired to eat. I am so tired to even lift my hand. A person who is that tired. Let a snake move into the room. Let the snake move in. They see the snake. You will notice the takeoff speed. They will forget about the tiredness. They will leave the room running. Now the question is, where did they get the energy from? Because remember, they were saying, I do not even have power to lift. I do not have the energy to even lift my hand. If you could help me lift my hand and put it this side. They are tired. But where did the energy come from to leave the room running? Were they given energy to say, okay, fine, here is some energy for you to run? The answer is this. They had the energy within themselves, but they didn't have enough willpower to summon that energy. That energy was already there. They did not have the willpower. Now that there is something that is threatening their lives, an issue of life and death, all of a sudden, energy to skidate, energy to take off in high speed has been found. Where has it been found? It was already there inside. But they did not just have enough willpower to make that decision. So what am I putting across with this? You can fool yourself as to the extent of your weakness. You can fool yourself as to the extent of how a victim you are. You can fool yourself as to the extent of how uncontrollable you are. You can fool yourself to the extent to how helpless you are. But I want to submit to you that that helplessness is just a state of mind. So you can't keep saying, no, I'm a victim of my past, I'm a victim. It could be true, but that victim mentality is just a state of mind. When you say I'm uncontrollable, that lack of control is just a state of mind. When you say you are weak, that weakness is just a state of mind. If you made the decision today that you will be 100% in charge of your life, the way you will face life, and the way you will address life, the way you will come to the table in as far as life is concerned, is at a totally different level. I made the decision that I'll never be a victim in this life. I've just decided. Instead of just playing weak, playing what, I have decided that I am taking charge of my life. I won't just be complaining. So what am I putting across? You are not weak and you're not just a victim. You're just being foolish. This is the message from the radical entrepreneur. And the future is bright. Have a nice day ahead.